All right, just please be advised that this council meeting is being recorded. By speaking at this meeting, you agree to being recorded. Please ensure that if and when you speak, you are respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. Combined Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this meeting. The recording of this meeting will be made publicly available on Council's website. I'll call the first item, applications for leave of absence. Could I have a mover, please?
Move it.
Moved by Councillor Durkin, second by Councillor Oldham. We have no leave of absence. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 2, declarations of interest. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Davison, seconded by Deputy Jones. All those in favour? Or anybody to declare? Anything to declare? Anybody first of all?
Yes, I have. Item number 17.
Item 17, Councillor Newsom. Thank you. And yours is a significant non-pecuniary. Thank you. Anyone else?
Item 18, just it's non-significant, non-pecuniary. Just note the letter of support for events assistance application from Molong Advancement Group.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 3, declaration for political donation. Mover, please. Mover by Councillor Davison, seconded by Councillor Newsom. Anything to declare? I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Mayoral minute. I'll table a report for the mayoral minute. Does anybody else have anything for the mayoral minute?
Please table it, please, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Jones, yep.
I've tabled mine as well.
Thank you, Councillor Newsom. Councillor Nash, you tabled something, did you? Yep, thank you.
I tabled mine, but can I just make a comment?
Yep.
I'd like, for Australia Day, we had it at Canowindra, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all festivals in the lead up to and on the day of the Australia Day celebration in Canowindra. It's very much appreciated and to the hard work.
Agree totally. Thank you. Anything else?
Sorry. Only one thing about Yeovil. I went out to the Yeovil Banjo Patterson Festival event for the poets out there. It was organised by Alf Cantor and his wife. It was a very, very well run event, and it was a good event this year. Better than it was last year, and last year was good, but this one was even better. Just as a note. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Nothing further? All right, I'd also like to take this time to mention Lynn Hawkes' involvement in Australia Day, and especially chaperoning the ambassador too. So thank you very much, Lynn, for all your work on Australia Day as well. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 5 is Committee of the Whole. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Weaver, seconded by Councillor Nash, I've seen. Anything for Committee of the Whole? No? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 6 is grouping of reports. Could I have a mover, please?
Move it.
Councillor Durkin, seconded by Councillor Nash. Now we're grouping items 7 through to 14, just a reminder. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. We'll move to item 15. Is the 2020 National General Assembly. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll move that.
Mover, Deputy Jones, seconded by Councillor Newsom. Any discussion on that at all? Yep.
Yeah, it works now. That's identifying a motion for the submission to the General Assembly Is that also part of this?
Yeah, when have we got to do that by? Is there a date on that anywhere there that I can't see?
They usually don't give us very much notice.
Yeah, it's in June, but they need the cut-off date for motions. Can we take that on notice? But it is part of that motion, but I would think that they wouldn't, the time frame wouldn't have closed by now. There would be a cut-off date. We have to have the motion in by.
Yeah.
That's how it generally works, so.
Well, the only motion that I would like to suggest, Mr. Mayor, I haven't written one out, but something around the identification of dams particularly for our area. Water is going to be the essential problem, ongoing problem for our shire and many other shires in Australia. And it seems to me that there seems to be a lack of action at the moment regarding that. It's rain now, and everybody's starting to say, oh, the drought's over. The drought's far from over here, and it's far from over in the rest of Australia. And I'd like to see us put forward some sort of a motion to the General Assembly saying, get going and get some dams identified and start doing something about it.
Yep, the gentleman has taken that on notice. He'll compile something for us, and the good engineer has indicated to me that the 27th of March is the closing date for those. So,
thank you.
So we'll come back to the next meeting too. All right. Nothing further. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 16 is the quarterly budget review.
We'll move it.
Moved by Councillor Durkin. Second by Councillor Batten. Now, just before there's any discussion, I'll just ask the Director to speak to that. There's a clarification on the wording there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report shows a reduction of the cash surplus of down by 678,000, down to a surplus of 2.67 million. Page 7 of the report should read deficit 678,000 for the quarter, not positive, and that corresponds with page 4 of the QBR report and the report in the business paper. So it's just a typo there. The major issues for the quarter were that the heavy vehicle special safety program's been taken out, which was valued at $4.8 million, and our contribution of $2.4 million has been put back to the reserve. We've also taken out $1.2 million out of regarding the Canowindra Retirement Village project because Uniting Care have pulled out of the project, and we've put that into reserve as well for to proceed in a different way. We've received $786,000 from the sale of the Southern Lights phone shares, and we're spending $500 of that money allowing it for the Southern Lights project. And we've also transferred $172,000 to upgrade the Gower Showgrounds. We've got a net capital spending of $34 million, which is quite a lot still, and we project to have $34.6 million in reserves at the 30th of June 2020 if all projects go ahead.
All right. Any discussion on that at all?
Mr. Mayor, without sounding like a broken record, we've got this large reserve of $34.5 million for the reserve balance. I'm just wondering once again, we seem to have a lot of projects and a lot of money sitting each year that we're carrying forward, and it's a matter of us, or of council, asking the management if they can really do the projects that we have on our budget. And if we can't, what are we going to do about getting contractors in or whatever to get these projects done? Because it seems to me that $34.5 million is a lot of money to be sitting in the reserve at the end of the year to carry forward. And I know we've had a drought, and I've had a few problems, and I certainly appreciate the work that has been done by the engineering department, and they've done a sterling job to try to catch up, and the drought hasn't helped you at all. I'm just a little bit concerned about the level of the reserve.
I'll ask the General Manager to speak to that.
It's really, Mr. Mayor, just to clarify, the 34 million is also capital budgeted, so that will be reduced by the end of the year. It just may not be the whole 34 million gets spent, as we have discussed. You're quite right. It was a very ambitious capital budget to start with, and it got more ambitious as we rolled over projects. And additional grants which have hit. We're working with the engineers about what is a deliverable amount, because it was a very ambitious target for this size of council. And we're confident we'll be able to come back to you with that. Next year's budget will have a much more achievable amount of capital, but equally the engineers I know are working very hard to bring home as much of that 34 million that's left in this financial year.
Just ask the engineer to comment too.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So a number of points to have a look at. We are in the current peak of the construction season. So there are a number of projects that are currently ongoing, contracts that have been awarded, and just off the quick run through, I can rattle off about $10 million worth of projects that are currently out to contract, and they're currently underway. So the area of concern is water and sewer program, and we have put on an additional project management resource to get those out to contract, acknowledging that we have a shortfall in staff to be able to deliver those on the ground. We need to engage contractors, and that's the primary role of our project manager, is to get that capital program back up and running.
Thank you. Councillor Weaver.
Mr. Mayor, I would just like to ask a couple of questions. It says in the report that for this quarter also saw a net receipt of $137,147 for the sale of the depot land at Canowindra. Is there any purpose for that money as yet?
General Manager.
I'll just have to take that on notice of whether it's being put to reserve or not. I'm just not sure off the top of my head.
And also, it was received in the Crown Lands funding $172,500 to be spent at the upgrade to the Agara Showground. How does that Crown Land funding work? Can anybody tell me? Where do we get that funding from? How do we get it?
I think that's the grant funding you're referring to. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, it's through Mr. Mayor, it's from grant funding from Crown Lands to do the work. So the Showground Committee put in for a grant, and Crown supplied 132.
Are they?
Is that their through you, Mr. Mayor? I think it's our contribution, is it? Or? Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll get back to you on that, but it's basically the Showground Agara got a grant for their building, their pavilion.
We got a grant for that, 172,000 grant.
Yeah, the 172.
Yeah, so that's what that money's for, through you, Mr. Mayor. We received a grant of 172,500 from Crown Lands to do that work, and we're spending it on Agara Showground. So that's net cost to ratepayers. Yeah. Net nil cost to ratepayers.
Yeah, I think what I'm asking is who applies to Crown Lands for that? Is it the Showground or do we?
Through Mr. Mayor, the Showground Committee.
Thank you.
Councillor Batten.
Make a comment. It is a fairly clear process. I mean, what you find is community groups apply.
Can I just cut you off? Hang on a sec there. Can I just we put this in committee of the whole? Can I have somebody move we put it in committee of the whole?
No.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councillor Davison, seconded by Councillor Jones. Right, thanks. Sorry, Councillor Batten.
I'll deal with it in committee of the whole.
No, deal with it now. We're going to committee of
I
the
was
whole.
just going to quickly say that here's a very clear process in that the Crown Improvement, the community groups apply through the Crown Improvement Fund, and either successful or unsuccessful, but the money comes to council as a manager, usually, of the Crown Land. So it's not the community group that gets the money normally, it's the manager of the land.
Right, okay. I just wanted clarification on how that works.
Switch off.
Yep. Yeah.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just to clarify also that sometimes we do, the project is taken on by, like Cumnock, will take a lead role with council's assistance. So it depends on the nature of the committee, the skills and what the project is. But so, yeah.
Councillor Nash.
Oh, through you, Mr. Mayor. I was just wondering what's going to happen now with the Canowindra retirement village. Is it going to be kept going or not?
It's through you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, unfortunately, only Friday a week ago we were off uniting. They yet to send us formal notification that it no longer applies to their business model, shall we say. However, I went and met with the committee in Canowindra last week. They understand the situation. Myself and the mayor had a meeting down there a few months back. We were a bit worried about it. However, now the project will still progress. We may be looking at going down the expression of interest road again. But there's also a number of changes we're looking at. So, even if the project was still going, it's unlikely that money would have been spent this year anyway. So it's been in the budget for 10 years. Appropriately, it should be in a reserve that's actually labelled Canowindra Retirement Village. So it's certainly not disappearing, and it's bright. I made sure Luke said that the director had it tagged that it is for the Canowindra Retirement Village project, but we're not quite back to square one, but we've just got to try again.
Anything further?
Have we any other options? Are there any other interests being shown?
True, Mr. Mayor. Uniting have indicated they feel there'll be other parties that may want to be part of it, something like that. But since it's only been about 10 days, we haven't gone out to that expression of interest phase yet. But we'll try and do that as quickly as we can. But we want to work with the committee because there may be some changes in the way we can look at that now that we own the land, have the reserve with that project. And I'll probably talk to you at a workshop or something around that.
All right. Nothing further. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. And now we'll just move. Somebody move that we move out of committee of the whole back to the ordinary. Moved by Councillor Weaver, second by Councillor Oldham. So we're back in ordinary. Just from history, in regards to any budget matters, I just think it's probably a good idea that we throw the budget stuff into committee of the whole from the start of meetings, because there's also always healthy discussion on the budgetary matters and very important. So I just think future reference, we should put it in committee of the whole anyway. All right, item 17 is the Canowindra International Balloon Challenge. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Durkin, seconded by Councillor Oldham. And just note that Councillor Newsom is leaving the room. She declared interest in this matter. So it was moved by Councillor Durkin. You wish to speak for it, Councillor Durkin?
Not at this time, thanks. I think the report's very self-explanatory.
Thank you. Anybody wish to speak against it? No? All right. I'll quite happy to put that. Yes?
Can I just make a comment, Mr. Mayor, if I may? This is a very important festival in our shire, and it's something that we have to support, particularly at the moment, the way that tourism is going in our region, as is common right throughout the country areas of Australia. The tourism numbers are down quite significantly in some areas, and we haven't been affected quite to the same degree yet. I think that there will be some withdrawal from the tourism numbers that we experienced at 1.8 million last year. So anything that we can do to help a festival like this to go along should be supported. As another aside from that, the wine industry this year is going to suffer a real body blow here from smoke. There will be almost no wine made in the Orange region. Very, very little. I think there's only one or two people that I know of are trying to make some wine. Just as another aside, we made some wine from our old place the other day, and in a small bucket ferment, and it tasted like an ashtray. It was awful. So there'll be none made from our little place either. So it's a body blow for us out here as well, and you've got to also think about the employment of pickers and people who come in during that season. That money won't be here either. So anything that we can do to help the tourism industry, we should be supporting, and I will be putting forward a motion later on at the next meeting for us to look very seriously at an increase in our budget for tourism in the very near future, to try to help this region attract some more tourists and keep some more small businesses going. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Nothing further. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Councillor Newson, that was passed as per the recommendation. Okay, item 18.
I'll move that, Mr. Mayor.
I'll find it. The Events System Program, moved by Councillor Jones, seconded by Councillor Weaver. All right. We'll go down. So the Molong Smarts Festival for $500. Everybody's happy with that? The 3-day Orienteering Championships for Molong, happy with that? And the Yagara Orienteers as well. Everybody happy with that? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 19 is the request for donation. Could somebody move that, please?
I'll move it.
Moved by Councillor Nash, seconded by
Second it.
Councillor Durkin. Any discussion on that at all? Everybody happy? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 20 is questions for next meeting. I have a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Oldham, seconded by Councillor Weaver. Do we have any questions for next meeting? Okay, all happy? I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 21 is business paper items for noting. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Newsom, seconded by Councillor Jones. Anything for noting there? Anybody? All happy? Right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 22, matters of urgency. Any moved by Councillor Oldham, seconded by Councillor Travers. You're scratching there. Any matters of urgency?
Not in a matter of urgency, I don't think, but it's a matter that I'd like to bring up, and that's in the last couple of weeks, the bushfires, of course, have been raging around New South Wales, and we've been fortunate to miss out on all that. And I'm not for one moment decrying that these people need a lot of support, but the drought seems to be pushed towards the background, and the drought is not top of mind in lots of cases. And I'm just wanting to council to possibly pen a note to the federal and the state members to remind them that we are still in drought out here, and we'll be in drought for the next 3 or 4 years financially. And it's something I just think that we need to bring up again. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Nothing further. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 23 is committee of the whole section. We have nothing, but I need a mover for that.
You'll move it.
Moved by Councillor Durkin, second by Councillor Travers. All those in favour? Against? That is carried. Item 24, Waluwin Community Centre lease agreement. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Davidson, seconded by Councillor Weaver. Everybody happy with that? I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. We'll just move now to the late reports. Everybody with me on the late reports, item 25? Yeah. All right, could I have a mover on item 25?
I'll move.
Election commitments funding deeds, moved by Councillor Durkin, seconded by Councillor Nash. Any discussion on that at all? No? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Okay, item 26 is a change of the meeting date for the March Council meeting. The recommendation will change in that the date will change from, as listed on there, to Thursday the 26th to Wednesday the 25th. That's just a wording change on that. So that's what the recommend will read, that Council reschedule the March 2020 Council meeting to Wednesday the 25th of March 2020, commencing at 2 p.m. Could I have somebody move that? Councillor Weaver, seconded by Councillor Newsom. Anybody wish to speak?
Yeah, I think I'd like to say something if I might. Why can't we do that the day after our ordinary meeting? So don't be, I think we were saying before at lunchtime that the objections close at about 5 o'clock or 5:30. If we had huge numbers of objections, or we think we would, I can't imagine we would. But why couldn't we meet at say 5:30 after our council meeting on that day, rather than coming back for another day? I mean, it's just, to me, it seems to be changing everything over for one day, and it's also, I've looked around, there's a couple of people going to various functions, etc. I've got one on, I won't be here. And I think that it's just a matter of just trying to get back down to the holding it after the objections have closed at 5:30. Make it 6 o'clock if you'd like to. We can reconvene here at 6 o'clock. It's not going to, it won't kill anybody. And it's only going to take 10 minutes anyway.
Yeah, that's so the whole meeting's going to move from the Tuesday to the Wednesday. So it won't be a meeting Tuesday and then reconvene on Wednesday.
But I'm just saying that the Wednesday seems to be, to a few people around here, including me.
Yeah.
Out. So if we run it back, just run our ordinary meeting, and then run a special meeting at the starting at 5:30 or 6. It'll only take 5 minutes because I think we're all sitting around here nodding our heads and saying, let's vote for it.
Sorry. Hang on a second. Just wait, I'll just ask for a comment.
Sorry. I'm sorry, I got...
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, that's possible. I suppose there's a presumption that there's going to be no submissions or any complexity, I suppose, is the only thing we're sort of that we're trying to avoid. But if it's council's view that they want to meet at 6 o'clock, we got legal advice at 5 p.m. they have to close on 5 p.m. But technically we could table a late report at that time for that matter. I don't see any issue with that. Particularly if that means more councillors are going to be able to be there.
Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll do it by
Well, I'll do this way by elimination first. Who is not available Wednesday? Not. So there's four out there on the Wednesday. And if it was to stay Tuesday, is everybody available Tuesday?
It's a personal button.
Yes.
Yeah, when you want to speak, you press your buttons.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems to me that we're shifting a whole council meeting by a day for one item that probably just needs our sanction or sanction of the quorum. And we will know most of the objections the day before the council meeting. So what we're trying to anticipate is some rush of objectors in the 24 hours leading up to 5 p.m. on the day of the council meeting. And we're all set to approve all this money. And I don't know, unless we get information from Canowindra that there's a groundswell of objection arising, we should assume, we could be safely assuming that the good people of Canowindra are not going to object to this. But if there is, and we have to counter for that decision, surely a quorum could meet on the Thursday, or we hang around till 5:30 all day as if as it can, and have a look at it. Moving a whole council meeting by a whole day to do 5 minutes work seems to me not a good idea anyway.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, you're quite correct, Councillor, but I suppose council staff had to be cautious that we don't want to look like we're preempting or diluting the fact that this is going out on public display, so therefore we don't want to look like we're presuming we're going to get an answer. But if council wishes to do that and it makes sense, we can arrange that, providing it's just, we've had legal advice that it does have to be that close of business 5 p.m. But outside that, if council wants to make that arrangement, we can work with, just mindful that the extraordinary meeting you're talking about, if we did get would have to go through that time frame of an extraordinary meeting notification process, but that can be done. So I suppose the most eloquent solution is moving the meeting, but having it heard later, that item could still work. So it's up to council.
Mr. Mayor, if I can speak.
Yeah.
There is another alternative, which is that we move an amendment to the motion, the recommendation, that we start the meeting on the Tuesday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, that gives the staff the opportunity to deal with it, or at a later time. It could be 4 o'clock, it could be 5 o'clock, it could be 6 o'clock, depending on what people prefer. So we do have an option.
Mr. Mayor, before we, or as we continue, can I just move this into the committee maybe, as a whole? Oh, are we?
No, we're not. No, we're not. Yeah, is there any more discussion on it? Yeah, no more discussion on it. Look, there's two ways we can do this, I guess. Formally, we let that recommendation go through, and it would appear that it'd be not preempting people which way they're going to vote, but you could defeat this recommendation, and we could arrange you don't need a recommendation just to change the time, do we? If you want to start it later, yes, you will. Well, the only other way we could do that procedurally is the mover and the seconder agreed to a rather significant amendment. That's all. And the amendment being that the meeting goes back to the normal meeting day, and if you want to start it later, do that. So the mover was Jen. Councillor Weaver moved it, and seconded by Cheryl here. So you're happy to we amend the recommendation to read that the meeting day remains our normal meeting with later start time. And what time do you want to start? 3 o'clock? Four o'clock?
Can we have a special meeting just to deal with this particular item and have that after the close of our council on Tuesday?
If you're going through you, Mr. Mayor, if you're going to have it on that day, I think you just want to move the time. So it's just as much effort to move all that. So if you moved it to 3 or 4 o'clock, it'll be easier for staff to sort out.
3 o'clock start? 4 o'clock start?
We can have a coffee break.
Yeah, I'll move an amendment that we actually reschedule the March meeting to start at 4 o'clock on the 24th of March.
Move and second, happy with that?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'll put that 4 o'clock start, normal Tuesday.
Need a second to the amendment, don't you?
Oh, well, you're second to the amendment, sorry.
We can manage that.
Council under lights, Council.
So we've got a mover and a seconder. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. All right, back to normality. All right, move from the ordinary meeting to our closed. Sorry. All right, just move from closed back to ordinary, and could somebody move that we adopt all matters discussed in the closed meeting? Moved by Councillor Oldham, seconded by Councillor Newsom. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Meeting over.